Talk to you.
Thank you, Miles, and welcome everyone to the Harris Center's 2020 annual meeting. Hard to believe. It is so great to see so many faces out there and really fun to see so many of you. And so thank you so much for coming. For those of you who don't know, I'm Jeremy Wilson. I'm the executive director at the Harris Center. I started here 8.5 years ago, and I was thinking just before this that I never imagined that I'd be addressing an annual meeting in bare feet, but here I am in bare feet addressing an annual meeting. So unexpected things are good sometimes. This is obviously not the meeting we had planned for the grand finale of our 50th year celebration, but we've been making lemonade all year long, or at least since March, and we hope we can mix up another batch tonight. So off we go. I want to start by thanking the staff, the board, volunteers, and all our supporters for helping the Harris Center really to adapt so well to such trying circumstances this last year. When the schools shut down in the spring, our teachers kept meeting with their classrooms remotely and sending their students out into their backyards rather than the schoolyard. When we couldn't offer in-person events, the staff put together an amazing array of resources and a collection of Zoom events it was truly astonishing, or continues to be astonishing, really. And most shockingly allowed the Harris Center to reach more people than ever. When trail use increased dramatically, our land staff and volunteers kept up with all the additional needed trail maintenance and even improved signage. And finally, when we launched a 50th fund campaign in the middle of a pandemic, our supporters were as generous as ever. Sometimes we need a little reminder about how great an organization is. The Harris Center community's response to the pandemic has provided that reminder for me this year. This is truly a special resource for the Monadnock region and beyond, and it's all thanks to you in this meeting right now. So thank you. The annual meeting will feature announcements of board transitions, awards, recognitions, a brief look back, and a peek ahead. So at this point, I'd like to turn this over to Richard Pendleton, who has been a really phenomenal board member and chair for the last 2 years. Richard's commitment to the Harris Center, his thoughtfulness, and his attention to detail have been so valuable to me. Thank you. Richard, can you take it away?
Thanks, Jeremy, and hello, everyone. I'm Richard Pendleton from Peterborough, the outgoing board chair. Wow, what a year this week has been. Given that, it bears repeating what a terrific staff we have at the Harris Center. They've adapted to change and adopted new systems and offerings for our hardworking educators, students, and families. Our need for outdoor time, and maintaining connections while social distancing and providing outdoor stress relief. I hope you've been able to take advantage of online or in-person events. We should take pride in the way the Harris Center is contributing to positive change, like helping our schools adjust to pandemic-inspired outdoor education. We're also participating in the diversity, equity, inclusion conversation, all while running a 50th celebration campaign. So thank you for your support of the Harris Center and these programs. Now, I'd like to thank our current board members by recognizing their committee involvement. Karen Bennett of Antrim is the chair of the Community Programs Committee and a member of the Lands and 50th Committees. Beth Corwin of Peterborough is a member of the Schools and Community Programs Committee. Michael George of Jaffrey, chair of the Lands Committee and a Development Committee member. Sandy Green of Peterborough, treasurer and chair of the Finance Committee. Lois Haskins of Hancock, chair of the Audit Committee and a member of the Governance and Finance Committees. Jim Hassinger, vice chair, also chair of the Governance Committee and a member of the Finance, Development, and Lands Committees. Katri Jackson of Dublin, a member of the School Programs and Conservation Research Committees. Tim Jordan of Keene, member of the Audit and Community Program and Conservation Research Committees. Dan Lingeal from Harrisville, our secretary and a member of the Governance, Audit, and Community Programs Committees. Tim Riley of Peterborough, chair of the Development Committee and a member of the Governance Committee. David Sobel of Harrisville, Chair of the School Programs Committee. And finally, Carol Young of Hancock, Chair of the Conservation Research Committee and a member of the Schools Committee. We also have many community members and former board members who donate their time to committee and other volunteer work, and I wish I had time to recognize you all here. Lastly, I'd like to introduce you to next year's slate of 4 officers. Karen Bennett will be our new chair, Jim Hassinger, the vice chair, Dan Lingill will continue as secretary, and Sandy Green as treasurer. So I'm very excited to hand off the reins to Karen Bennett now. So thank you, and Richard out.
Thank you, Richard. I hope I can be heard right now. I think I unmuted myself. I'm pleased, very pleased to welcome 3 new trustees who bring a wealth of experiences, knowledge, and skills to the board. Daniel Henderson, you see on the left of Hancock, was a lawyer from Markham and more recently worked at Keene State College as a liaison with businesses and the community. He will join our Lands and Finances Committee. Dr. Carrie Kalich of Keene, in the center there, is the Dean of Sciences and Health at Keene State College. Among many accomplishments, she wrote a Farm to Table book. She will join our School and Conservation Research Committees. And finally, Denise Zimmer, on the right, of Peterborough, has a lot to teach the rest of us about working remotely, something she has done since 2016, working for Indiana Knitwear. She will join our Development and Community Programs Committees. So welcome to all 3 of you. I look forward to working with you, and someday, actually, I hope we meet in person. So my next duty is less joyful, and that is saying goodbye and thank you to our retiring board chair, Richard Pendleton. Richard's done a yeoman's job as chair. To stay engaged, he attended many, many Harris Center programs in as many committee meetings as he could. He was an encouraging, supportive, and thoughtful presence for our board. He got into the weeds, leading an effort to revise our bylaws. But he saw the big picture during some very challenging times and kept us focused on our strategic plan and 50th anniversary celebration. Richard, as a small thank you for a job well done, we will be delivering an engraved Bobcat cheese board as a parting gift. Richard, it's so attractive, I predict I won't ever see a cheese knife touch its surface. Thankfully, Richard will stay engaged with us as a community member on our Lands Committee and has offered to continue working with us to revise the rest of our policy manual, a necessary but thankless job. And you can believe Richard will take you up on that offer. So thank you, Richard, for a job well done. And now it's time for me to turn the program over to our school program director, Janet Altobello.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah.
I'm honored to present this year's Educator of the Year Award to our longtime mentor, Meade Caddo. Today, I will focus on a sliver of what the Harris Center teacher naturalists have received by working beside Meade. As a Harris Center intern in 1985 and 86, I was inspired by Meade's well-crafted slideshows. Because of Meade, I purchased a Kodak carousel projector so that I could create image-rich presentations like his. For years, I shared my memology slides as part of my teaching. One day, a 4th grader asked me, "Can you send email with that machine?" It was because of Meade that the art of a well-crafted, interactive slideshow is part of my teaching toolkit. Jamie reflected on a teaching tip that she learned from Meade. How many of us have been present when Meade pulls a surprise from his pocket, like a tiny hummingbird nest in a peanut butter jar, or a bear claw just in case we find a tree scraped by a bear while out with a group? From Meade, we learn to plan for moments when something astonishing helps to round out an outing with kids. Karen is inspired by Meade's alertness in everyday moments, like when he is walking his dog. He models that there's always something to observe and marvel at when walking the same route day after day. Jenna is ever grateful to share an office with Mead, so she has easy access to a master naturalist. She learned from Mead that a scary sound in the woods that many attribute to fishers is actually the screaming of porcupines. John reflected on the value of having Mead as a resource for lesson planning. As John prepared 8th grade deer ecology lessons, Mead shared his ample knowledge about winter deer behavior, diet, New Hampshire Fish and Game hunting protocol, and much, much more. Susie reflects that it is so hard to think of one thing to say about Mead and how much he has taught her. Susie says, Mead has inspired me to stay curious. He is always looking, exploring, and discovering. And this alone has energized me to stay as curious as him. He is so humble about how much he knows and so passionate about being a lifelong wild watcher. We are all grateful beneficiaries of Mead's vision, his generous attention to our questions, and his refreshing humor. I now present the 2020 Harris Center Educator of the Year Award to our longtime friend and mentor, Mead Caddo. Yay!
Can you hear me? Oh, good. Well, thank you, Janet. I'm very honored to be included in the company of those on the front lines of education, the classroom teachers in a score of schools that we've recognized annually since the 1980s when you, Janet, joined our staff. Classroom teachers are the ones that must motivate students to want to learn. I've had it easy here at the Harris Center. My students these days are our teacher naturalists. You are all already highly motivated and knowledgeable, eager to learn and inspired to teach. You all are the cream of the crop. But there is one other teacher I need to recognize and thank. It's my 4th grade teacher, Miss Atkinson. She had the wisdom and knowledge both of good pedagogy and of me, so that when it was time for the 3rd graders of Greenville, Delaware Elementary School to begin their scheduled study of birds, Miss Atkinson suggested I be the teacher. That affirmational experience some 68 years ago helped me to get on this road to being here with you today. I didn't really know all that much back then, or now for that matter, but quoting a real heroine, Rachel Carson, it's really not so important to know as to feel. We have great challenges ahead for sure, but I'm sure the Harris Center with Jeremy at the helm will help lead the way. Onward to the next 50 years, and over to you, Brett.
Yay, that was so lovely, Mead. So Miles, are you going to start slides for us? Wonderful. So I have the honor and challenge of giving you a whirlwind tour through our first half decade in about 5 minutes. So here we go. As you know, and also I just want to say gratitude to Mead and to Janet and to Richard and to everyone who's being honored tonight. So as you know, our story starts with Eleanor Briggs and her vision. Eleanor, for any of you who don't know her, which is probably none of you, you probably all know her, but Eleanor grew up on Long Island and spent her summers here in Hancock at her grandparents' home, which you can see here back in the olden days. And as she grew, she watched the Long Island she loved to get paved over, and she feared a similar fate for Hancock and the Monadnock region. When her grandmother passed away, the Hancock home was sold to a developer, but Eleanor bought it back and used it to found the Harris Center. Miles, next one, please. Our first paid staff member was naturalist John Coolish, a hunter and trapper turned conservationist who liked to say he got his schooling in the University of the Woods. He and his wife I know, wrote a book, Bobcats Before Breakfast, which received much acclaim and was out of print for many years. But in celebration of our 50th anniversary, the Harris Center worked with Stackpole Books to reissue Bobcats Before Breakfast with a new foreword by Mark Reynolds, who was a longtime friend of John's. Next one, Miles. In 1975, Meade Caddo joined the staff as the first paid director. We all know Meade, master tracker, birder, mentor, teacher, adventurer, architect of the super sanctuary, and apparently also crow wrangler. Next one, Miles. Here is the early crew celebrating their 10th birthday. We've got John Meade, David Blair, Cecil Lyons, who was the first director of the Harris Center in a volunteer capacity, Cindy and Virginia Caddo, and Eleanor blowing out the candles on their birthday cake. Next one, Miles. In the early 1980s, the Harris Center protected its first parcel of land beyond the land immediately surrounding the Harris Center building. And of course, that was the shoreline of our beloved Spoonwood Pond, seen here in autumn glory. Next one, Miles. The 80s and 90s were a real years of blossoming and growth for our school program, where we had talented teacher naturalists working in elementary, middle, and high schools throughout the region. We can't name them all, but among them were Marion Baker, David Blair, Diana Reno, Claudia Derry, our own Janet Altabello, and Susie Spickle joined us in the 90s. Next one, Miles. Next one, thank you. So this was also a time of great growth for our summer camp program, which was known for many years as Wool's Nest, which is a tribute to Winnie the Pooh and his friend Owl, who spelled his name wrong on the sign outside his nest. And here are some campers in a nest of their own making. Next one. The early 2000s were a really huge time for us of growth. We had this major building renovation that changed the Harris Center from a home simply for people into a home for an organization, with classrooms and offices and event space, and at the time, state-of-the-art, sustainable green building design. Next, Miles. Here's the crew in 2005. I think many of these folks may be on the call tonight. Of course, you recognize Susie and Janet and Meade, who are still a daily presence for us at the Harris Center. Cindy Caddo on the far left, and then just behind Meade we have Lori Bryan, Polly Patterson, Barbara Breen, Corey Stevenson, all treasured teachers in our past. Next one. 2007 was a big year for our land protection program as we finally protected Robb Reservoir, 1,700 plus acres, a project that had essentially been in the works for 3 decades. Next one, Miles. And then 2009, when Meade turned the reins over to Lori Bryan, who was our 3rd director. She was the director when I came to the Harris Center. And when I think of Lori, I always think of her kindness and the warmth with which she welcomed everyone to the table. Next one, Miles. In the early 2000s, there was another organization in the region called the Ashuelot Valley Environmental Observatory, or AVIO, which was focused on citizen science. And in 2010, AVIO became part of the Harris Center, became the Harris Center's citizen science program. And with it, a number of projects came over too, including our flagship project, the Salamander Crossing Brigades, which this year celebrated its own milestone in that we've now moved more than 53,000 migrating amphibians to safety on rainy spring nights with the help of more than 1,200 volunteers over the course of the project so far. Next one, Miles. In 2012, Jeremy Wilson became our 4th director, bringing with him a wealth of knowledge in forest ecology. Next one. And in 2018, we were very excited to begin partnering with New Hampshire Audubon to run the Pack-Monadnock Raptor Observatory, which is now in its 16th season of hawk migration monitoring from the summit of Pack-Monadnock in Peterborough. Through it all, our community programs have just been an incredible and dizzying array of opportunities for people in this region, for all ages, from the babies in backpacks and toddlers in tow program seen here to residents of retirement communities. We have literally offered thousands of programs in our 50 years, everything from owl prowls to before school walking clubs, after school science clubs, Christmas bird counts, film showings, lectures, snowshoe hikes, cross-country ski treks, bicycle trips, paddles, bird banding demonstrations, research symposiums, workshops, courses, book groups. It's truly incredible. And as the times have changed, we've added new offerings to change with the times. So things like forest bathing and nature on tap talks at local taverns and breweries. And this year, of course, the Zoom talk, which is a huge part of our offerings now. Next one, Miles. So here we are 50 years later, and we've had some really incredible milestones. So during this time, we've now protected more than 24,000 acres of land from development. This includes more than 20 miles of hiking trails, 23 peaks over 1,500 feet in elevation, shorefront around 18 lakes and ponds, 1,600 acres of wetlands. Our conservation research program engages hundreds of volunteers as well as undergraduate and graduate students every year. Our teacher naturalists in the schools work with 3,000 students in 30 schools every single year. And we offer nearly 150 community programs a year for people, even this year, even in the midst of a pandemic. So it started with one woman's vision, and her legacy has grown to something bigger than all of us together. And I really want to thank every single person on this call and the many hundreds who couldn't be here with us tonight for making this happen. It's a truly incredible thing that we've all been a part of for this last 50 years. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Susie Spickle, our Community Programs Director and the chair of our 50th anniversary activities and happenings.
Thank you, Brett. This is really exciting. What a year we've had. I want to welcome all of you who are here tonight, and especially thank those of you that have supported our 50th anniversary, whether it was donating to our 50th fund or coming to celebrate at one of our 50th events. And this year truly has been like no other year, but tonight's not the night to focus on the challenges we've all had. Instead, I'd like to draw our 50th year to a close by celebrating the successes and accomplishments of this remarkable milestone. Together with all of you, we've had some good times this year. We've highlighted local artists whose work reflect the natural world, artists like Sue Callahan and Lauren Welch, Kim Cunningham, and our own founder, Eleanor Briggs. They filled our building with artwork. And when we couldn't gather anymore, Rosemary Conroy stepped up and did a virtual art experience. And so much of our 50 years is defined by Meade Cadot. How could we possibly celebrate this anniversary without acknowledging and honoring his lifelong gift to this place, making it what it is today? In sharing his tall tales, he's given us all a gift, a roadmap on how to be humble and humorous, curious and focused, impassioned and generous. If you haven't had a chance to read his stories, please do. They will remain on our website in our hearts for years to come. And 50 years is a long time in the making, and this year we found many ways to share the stories and memories and experiences that make this place so unique. We filled the year with special opportunities like hikes and talks, and even a commemorative book that shares the journey of one young woman's innovative idea into an organization that reaches thousands of people. This book will remind future generations of where we came from and who we were and what we had hoped for in the future. And we offered swag like hats and shirts and bags and stickers and even face masks to wear around our communities. That way everyone can see how proud we are of this place. And let me just say, if you haven't gotten your hat yet or your shirt, give Miles a call at the office. It's not too late to wear a bobcat on your hat and let everyone know that you are keeping track with the Harris Center. In our 50th Faces profiles, we told your stories, how your hearts and families were touched by our work, and how some of you left your forever mark on the Harris Center. These profiles highlight the reach of the center. If you haven't read them, check them out. They're on our website. And we invited children from across communities to send us their nature-inspired artwork, from bobcats to blue jays and red foxes to snow scenes. Their images lit up our world when everything else seemed grim, reminding us that there is always hope. And we offered a photography contest, and tonight I'm really honored to share the winners. This is an honorable mention for People in Nature. It goes to Patricia Boole for this lovely portrait of girls in a tent. The winner for People in Nature goes to Jill Griffiths for this dear portrait of her boys on the edge of Spoonwood Pond. Donna Keller's charming chipmunk receives an honorable mention for the wildlife category. And this remarkable close-up of an assassin bug photographed in the Hiroshi land by Bruce Boyer is our winner for the wildlife category. Jill Griffiths is receiving an honorable mention in the landscape category for this evocative photograph. And the winner of this category, of landscape category, goes to Amy Roberts for this classic image of a loon on Seaver Reservoir in Harrisville. And when we received Peter Knott's submissions, we all realized that we had forgotten to have a category called Nature as Art. And for this beautiful and intriguing photograph, we recognize Peter. The overall winner is being awarded to Kim Nagy for this capturing a thrilling moment and one-in-a-time photograph of a hawk release at Pac-Monadnock Raptor Observatory. Congratulations to Kim and all the others, and thank you to everyone who contributed their photographs. Look for these photographs in our print and online media. And now I'm going to turn this back over to Jeremy.
Thank you, Susie. It's time to do a few staff recognitions just to recognize or show you what our staff looks like these days, and also we do some special recognitions within that. Miles, if you could turn on the slide. So this is the current Harris Center staff, including Miles Stahman, who is our newest team member, an office manager and a technology whiz who has really been one of the main drivers or helpers in helping us to get through this pandemic and do all these Zoom presentations. I also want to single out a couple staff members who have made enormous contributions to the 50th celebration this year. Susie Spickle and Lisa Murray really took on this incredible planning and implementation effort to make it an incredible and special year. And then to make it worse, halfway through, they had to throw out all the old plans and replan the second half of the year all over again. Both of them worked well outside of their job description, and I'm so grateful for all of their efforts. I can't imagine what this year would have looked like without them. So thank you, Lisa and Susie. So Miles, if you could turn off the... We have a tradition at the Harris Center of honoring staff members on their quinquennial work years. For those of you like me who had no idea what that meant, it's every 5 years. And we have a couple of 5-year awards this year and 2 10-year awards. I'm going to start with James Newsom. He's getting an award on his 5 years for his legal expertise coupled with his passion for the great outdoors and its protection, allowing wildlife to thrive. And there's James from Scotland in quarantine. That's right now. The next 5-year award winner is John Benjamin, and we're giving him an award for the energy and creativity he brings to the Harris Center School Camp and ESI programs. Thank you, John. And now for the 10-year awards, we have 2 of those. The first goes to Eric Masterson for his oversight of our conserved lands, trail maintenance, outings, event coordination, and love of all things that fly and hopefully stay in the air. Congratulations on 10 years, Eric. And then finally, Brett Amy Thielen is getting a 10-year award as well. And Brett's is thanking her for her commitment to fostering scientific literacy through citizen science projects, outings and research projects with students, as well as her phenomenal editorial and website management skills. I want to, while we're talking about Brett, who is our extraordinary web manager, I want to make a quick plug for the wealth of information that's available on the Harris Center website. It's just harriscenteroneword.org, and there you'll find just an enormous amount of resources and material. This is especially important in this period where we're making plans is so difficult. And so we're really relying on the website to be our resource for you to keep up with event offerings, news, and other resources. The resources there are really wonderful. It covers everything from suggestions for what to do to get your kids outside, to great reads, to recordings of almost all of our big Zoom events since March. So it's just really, please take advantage of that, especially in these times. I now have the extraordinary pleasure of turning things over to Eric Masterson, our land protection manager. As many of you know, Eric had a horrific hang gliding accident in August. It is a bit miraculous, and we are truly lucky to have him back with us today. So please take it away, Eric.
Thank you, Jeremy. And I can't tell you how grateful I am to be at the Harris Center. The outpouring of love and concern, it just speaks volumes about the organization, about the staff there, and about Jeremy's leadership. So thank you. On behalf of everyone at the Harris Center, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the volunteers who do the hard work of maintaining our trails and managing our land. No small task. Each year, however, we recognize an individual or individuals who have gone over and above expectations. And this year, it is my great pleasure to introduce trail volunteers extraordinaire, Peter Harrison and Rick Haskins. If you've hiked Thumb, Skatoodie, or any number of our trails, you probably haven't noticed the downed trees, washouts, and all of the other varied hazards that might be blocking your path. Well, that's because there are few, if any. And this is not by accident. It may appear that trails maintain themselves, but they really don't. Every week for the past year, Peter and Rick have dutifully clocked in every Friday morning, almost like they're in an office. Every Friday morning, you could set your watch. And they hike up the mountain to usually Thumb or Skatoodie or the East Side trails to attend to the day's work. Most recently, you can witness their work by climbing Skatoodie, and you will see, if you haven't been up recently, you'll see that the view from the top of Skatoodie has, there was always a view there, but it grew in substantially, and now it has been reclaimed. And you can actually, I'm actually delighted to be able to say this, you can catch a glimpse during leaf off, you can catch a glimpse of the steeple in Hancock through the trees. So there's not, I don't know how many places locally you can see Hancock steeple, but you can from Skatoodie. So I'm very grateful to Rick and Peter, and I'd like to thank them both on behalf of everyone at the Harris Center. We're immensely grateful for your service. And I'd like to hand it over to Rick and then Peter, if they have a few words they'd like to say.
Rick, you have to unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for this honor. It has been my pleasure to be able to learn from my mentor, specifically Peter Harrison. I was thrilled to learn that you were acknowledging both of us. I have been doing this for a little bit more than a year, but Peter has been doing this for many years. So I'm glad that my mentor is here as well. Thank you again to Peter.
Thanks, Rick. I just enjoy the work, and at the end of the day, Rick always supplies with some grapes.
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Terrific.
Thank you both. Is it back to Jeremy?
It's back to me, Eric. Thank you. Three members of our Bobcats Forever Society, which is our plan giving program, passed on this year. And we will really sorely miss Elsie Van Buren, Jan Eaton, and Tom Casey. But their enduring generosity to the Harris Center helps us to ensure that this is a vital resource for many years to come. We would also like to thank, we have 4 new wonderful Bobcats Forever who've told us that they've included the Harris Center in their estate plans. And so it was a sorry thing to lose 3 fantastic supporters this year. But it's wonderful to know that others are stepping into their place. So I just want to thank all of those who have considered and signed up for the Bobcats Forever program. And now let's move on to Susie Spickle again, please.
Hi, everybody. What a pleasure I have this evening to be here with all of you and to be able to recognize a business that went above and beyond all expectations for the Harris Center with the Lori Bryan Partnership Award. Lori was the Harris Center's director from 2009 to 2012. She was all about connecting people and partners, weaving the Harris Center's thread to the community into a brilliant tapestry. Clearly, this award, named in honor of Lori, is reserved for our partners that go above and beyond what we would ever expect, helping to make what we do here at the Harris Center deeper, stronger, and ultimately more meaningful. Tonight, it is truly my honor to be able to recognize Chris Conroy and his company, Heartwood Media, with this award. Chris showed a generosity of heart, talent, and dedication to the Harris Center. We had applied to Heartwood Media's nonprofit challenge a few years back, where if we had been selected, his company would have made us a video free of charge. A different nonprofit was selected for that year, but Chris reached out and said he'd still like to make a video for the Harris Center because he believes so deeply in our mission. And what a gift that was for us. We were looking to showcase our program as part of the 50th anniversary. And originally, Chris offered to make us 1 short video, but Chris has a really big heart. He not only made us 1 incredible video highlighting the Harris Center's mission for the 50th anniversary, he actually then created 4 more amazing shorts for us to use to spotlight each aspect of our work, from land protection and school programs to community programs and conservation research. Each one of these gems is beautifully filmed, edited, and produced. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, then 5 videos is like the biggest, juiciest novel you could ever have. I guess we all know who put the heart in Chris's company, Heartwood Media. We are all so grateful to you, Chris, for doing this work for us. We had no idea when we first started talking what an important role social media and videos would come to play in 2020. Your videos lit up our online community and will continue to be an essential tool for how we tell our story to future supporters and partners. My one regret today is that we can't show you your videos because of rural connectivity problems. But I'm going to give everybody here a little bit of homework. This weekend, I want you to go to the Harris Center's website, harriscenter.org, or to the Harris Center for Conservation Education's YouTube channel and binge watch Chris's videos. It won't take that long. You can do it a couple of times. Send it to your friends, send it to your families. Send it to everyone you know. You won't be disappointed, and you'll probably fall more in love with the Harris Center and our work because of Chris's amazing work. So it is with the greatest acknowledgement of Chris and his talented staff at Heartwood Media that I present you with the Lori Bryan Partnership Award for your generosity, talent, and desire to help a small place like us tell our story. We are just so grateful to give this award to you for your big heart, your visual storytelling skills, and making us beautiful and powerful, meaningful short videos. Thank you, Chris. Yay! Now over to you, Chris.
So thank you, Susie. Thank you, everyone. You know, I thought I knew the story of the Harris Center by doing this video, but just hearing all the information tonight really makes me realize that there's just so much history that we didn't touch upon. So I feel Rosemary and I have always been big fans. We just know that you're doing tremendous work, and so I'm very honored to be recognized. And I also want to thank you for the swag. Back to you.
I'm not sure who it's supposed to go over to next. Maybe Lisa?
Lisa, yes.
Maybe Jeremy? Somebody?
Yeah, I think it's me.
Okay, phew.
Hi, everyone. Well, it certainly wound up being an unusual year to launch a campaign. We created the Anniversary Fund to enable the Harris Center to evolve and stay ahead of the curve on environmental initiatives as we move into the next 50 years. The 50th Anniversary Fund will enable innovation in environmental education and conservation research efforts, as well as excellent stewardship of our protected lands and trails, no matter what extreme weather events climate change might bring our way. Due to early donors to the 50th Fund, we've already funded or partially funded the following 5 projects, which give you an idea of the kinds of things this fund will make possible. The first is a MODIS wildlife tracking system. It's a cutting-edge network of radio transmitters and receiving stations that enable biologists to track the migration patterns of small flying animals like songbirds, bats, and butterflies. There's an online event next Tuesday at 5:30 if you want to learn more about this exciting project. Next, we have a Head Starting Turtle Monitoring Project with high school students, which will help pave the way for future student involvement in turtle conservation. Taking to the air again, we've started a broad-winged hawks tracking project, whereby biologists will attach satellite transmitters to one or more broad-winged hawks found nesting on Harris Center lands. Circling round to education again, the fund has helped with pandemic preparations for local teachers. Harris Center teacher naturalists recently designed and delivered 6 days of professional development workshops for 300 local classroom teachers to help them take their teaching out into the fresh air, something our teacher naturalists do so well. And finally, the fund has allowed us to publish a gorgeous perpetual nature almanac. Dun, da, da. There it is, written by our own trustee emeritus, Francie von Mertens. It's a year's worth of daily insights into the wild world we all share, which will be available to purchase through the Harris Center and a few local establishments in just a couple of weeks. These are all very exciting projects and give you just a tiny hint of the kinds of things this fund will make possible for many, many years to come. I want to thank our 50th Anniversary Fund Committee for working so hard this past year, including staff members Jeremy and Susie, board members Tim Riley, Richard Pendleton, and Michael George, and community members Hunt Dowse and Eleanor Briggs. And I want to thank all of you. Most of you here today on this Zoom have already donated to this fund, and you've all been so generous. Close to 300 people donated to the fund. Thank you so much from all of us at the Harris Center, and thank you on behalf of all the wild ones who enjoy living on our protected lands. I also want to acknowledge our lead donor to the fund, who not only gave birth to the Harris Center through her vision and generosity, but has remained steadfast in her commitment to its health and success, and has brought us full circle, leading the Harris Center into the next 50 years with assurance and strength. If you haven't already guessed, our lead donor to this important fund is Eleanor Briggs. There she is. Thank you so very much, Eleanor. And now for the grand total to date of pledges and monies donated to the 50th Anniversary Fund. I'm really happy to report we have well exceeded our goal. Our grand total as of today is $850,000. Yay! Thank you all so much. And now I'll turn it back to Jeremy.
Thank you, Lisa. Well, as the Harris Center begins its next half century or its second half century, what are our plans for the future? One thing is to keep doing what we're great at. So we'll keep partnering with schools to get kids outside and help them develop critical thinking skills while ensuring that they have deep connections to the natural world. We'll continue offering a diverse array of environmental education programs that serve learners of all ages. We'll continue conserving and stewarding land that forms a connected network of forests, fields, lakes, and wetlands, providing habitat for wide-ranging wildlife and wonderful backcountry recreation opportunities right in our own backyards. We'll keep facilitating conservation research projects that measure changes in and improve our understanding of the natural world. But what else are we going to do? Well, with the support of the 50th Fund, here are a couple things we'll be embarking on. One is providing increasing amounts of professional development for local classroom teachers so that teachers feel comfortable and empowered taking their students outside to explore the natural world, even when the Harris Center isn't there to help. Working to ensure that our trails, conserved lands, educational programs, and conservation research projects are welcome spaces for all. And we'll be building the Harris Center's conservation research programs into a Monadnock Region Observatory for the natural world. This involves expanding our school and citizen science-based data collection efforts, ensuring continued success of the PAC Monadnock Raptor Observatory, growing our work on harmful algal blooms in local lakes, continuing our Keene State College internship program, monitoring amphibian and turtle populations throughout the region, and much, much more. The goal is to build the Harris Center into one of the go-to regional resources for tracking trends in the natural world. Tracking these trends is more critical now than ever as ecological dynamics and patterns are being altered by increasing temperatures, more frequent and intense storms, a growing population, and expanding invasive plant and animal threats. As always, information that the Harris Center gathers through the observatory arm will inform our education and land stewardship programs, and vice versa. So we'll have a feedback loop where each of these program areas feeds back into the other one. In terms of, we are so excited that at next year's annual meeting, and hopefully this one will be in person and there will be no bare feet, we will have the great pleasure of celebrating the first Eleanor Briggs Medal Award winner. This award will honor a person whose vision and persistent work towards goals reflective of the Harris Center's mission have made a real difference in our lives. So that's something really fun to look forward to, is the first winner of the Eleanor Briggs Medal. And we're hoping that will happen next year at an in-person annual meeting event. Finally, I would like to offer a toast. I just need to get my toasting materials from the floor here. So I'd like to offer a toast to the Harris Center's second half century. May the Harris Center traditions of wonderful staff, amazing volunteers, and truly inspiring supporters, all working together on the vital task of fostering understanding, respect, and sound stewardship of the natural world, continue long into the future.
Yay!
Here. Thank you all so much for attending the 2020 annual meeting. Thank you, everyone. We so appreciate everyone making the effort to come to the annual meeting. It's been so fun seeing faces. I hope you enjoyed the brief social visit at the end there. And I have so much appreciation for all of our supporters and what they've made possible. And it's been so fun to share this celebration with you tonight. Thank you, everyone.